front, like from later in the episode, unless you had someone editing the episode.
Oh, for sure. That's how Two Bears, One Cave does it. So
yeah, we need an editor.
That guy.
We need the guy from Two Bears, One Cave.
Mm-hmm. Tom Segura.
Come on down.
Movie night. Movie night. Movie night. Ain't no doubt we about to watch one. Movie night. Turn it on. Gotta get it started. Let's watch a movie tonight. 'Cause movie nights are always the best of times. Got to keep on watching. Keep on watching. Got to keep on watching. Keep on watching.
Well, hello, you loyal movie night listeners. We are back, and we just watched
Extraordinary. This is
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah.
And that is...
And John is dressed up as Pedro Pascal.
I think look more like Nick Cage in
I
the
feel like
movie,
I've
but
seen Pedro Pascal walk out in that exact
I've literally looked at the movie.
You kind of even look like Pedro Pascal now that I'm thinking about
Let me
it.
dress like Nick Cage.
You look more like Pedro Pascal now in your late 20s than you do Leo DiCaprio. This fit
Pedro
mustache
Pascal
on-
is of
Hispanic.
Spanish descent, and he can grow
You got-
great
you're tan.
facial hair.
Yeah, if you had a fake mustache, which we have available.
No.
We'll check it out.
All right.
But I like the movie. Nick Cage, I've never really been a big fan of Nick Cage, but Nick Cage is it's pretty funny.
Yeah, do you want to give it a rating now?
I do it.
All right.
Sure.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
8.4.
7.0.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, 7.7 total.
Okay.
You would 8.4? You think you'll ever watch that movie again?
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good watch.
It was funny. I got a good laugh. I wasn't like, oh gosh, here we go with this narrative again.
Yeah.
That's almost all I want for like.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was completely different. Well, we could just start here. Why did we watch this in the first place? I mean, you were like dead set on watching this movie for some time.
I think I wanted to make a joke about this being a Pedro Pascal podcast, but
Well, why didn't you start this pod? We were dying for something.
that's true. I kind of forgot about it until.
Yeah. So we did this whole thing just for you to make that joke.
No, this was a decent movie, and I'm pretty
It
sure
was
it
a
had
decent
some...
movie, but like I probably would never watch it unless you were pushing it so hard.
Don't act like I was like, oh god, we gotta get on this.
You just
Nick
kept
Cage,
bringing
this
it
Nick
up.
Cage movie.
I mean, it was pretty good. It was
I bet it's gonna be better than The Menu.
It
I
had
assume
some
I'm gonna
laughs.
hate The Menu, and that's the next pod. That was the one we were supposed to watch.
yeah, and you've gotten me all up in a tizzy. You said
Not a tizzy.
You said we were supposed to watch The Menu this week. You said
you already make the
I
comment?
bought it, and I said on my account, and you said yeah. All right, cool. Well, The Menu is offered on HBO.
Yeah, I got HBO Max.
Yeah, thank God you ended up buying this one. So we just had to do a quick little audible. We watched Nick Cage playing Nick Cage dressed as Nick Cage as Nick Cage.
Yep, and he crushed it. He played the role perfectly.
Yeah, he nails himself.
I assume.
What I realized when watching this movie is I haven't seen like hardly any Nick Cage movies besides National Treasure. I've seen The Family Man. I remember that one.
There's one where he like
There's one called Face Off that's really popular. I've never seen it.
isn't he like in Aliens? He's in Aliens the movie. There's like a movie about him and like maybe
He's an
seeing
alien.
in the future, and maybe there's a kid involved and he sees into the future, and airplanes are crashing and stuff.
Whoa, I don't know about that one.
I don't know either. That could
Did you
not
just
even
write
be
a
the case.
movie? Hey, y'all
maybe.
jot that down. I
Oh,
mean,
that's actually funny because that's kind of what my game is like.
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this movie starts and these two kids are watching a Nick Cage movie, and I'm like, I don't know what movie is that. I have no idea. I don't know. It seems like Nick Cage. He's talking really stupid in the movie they're playing. I'm like, is this like a Nick Cage
I
Forrest
was
Gump?
wondering if this is like Nick Cage playing Nick Cage, as he thinks people would see Nick Cage outside just being Nick Cage.
Yeah. So it's some like
It's so confusing because he like makes this dumb smile all the time, and
Yeah.
he's doing all these like weird aneurysms that Nick Cage would do, but
yeah. Well, it opens up with these two kids watching a Nick Cage movie, and then they are like attacked and kidnapped, and it's like
because they were smoking pot.
Yeah, that's what you could only
That's what
assume.
happens, kids.
Yeah, you get kidnapped. Well, then it goes to Nick Cage back in America. These people are in like, where does he go to visit Javi?
Overseas.
All right, maybe he's in like Spain or something. I
Yeah,
can't.
I'm not sure.
So these kids get kidnapped in Spain. Now we're back in America, and Nick Cage. First thing I thought about him was he looks pretty weird. He had like
It's not
some plastic surgery done or something.
you think?
Oh, his face looked tight as the dickens. I mean, at least Botox. It looked like he was just like.
Okay, I'd have to see his face again. I've always been under the assumption that Nick Cage has always looked weird.
I think he's always looked weird, but now he looks like he's trying to look
Old
young, weird.
Yeah, like the lady from
won't
Friends.
age. Yeah, won't age gracefully weird. Yeah, Courtney Cox.
Yeah,
weird.
plus she's got Jennifer Aniston competition, and she's like, wow.
Who I'm sure is also doing all kinds of stuff, but she just
She's
looks better on her.
better.
She's
No, but Courtney Cox, we looked up her net worth. She was booming. We did that one.
not more than Jennifer Ann.
No, but like enough to get the best of the
Oh yeah,
best.
you don't want to skimp on plastic surgery.
No, if you're
That's a
gonna
stone
get it,
cold fact.
get it.
Yeah, get it hard.
Get it everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you look at a person over their 50s in Hollywood, and you just they've had work done, whether you want to believe it or not.
Oh, most of them, yeah. And you can't. The only
All of
ones
them.
you can't tell are the ones who didn't skimp. You got to go to the best of the best. So Nick Cage, he is starting off to. It's like he's becoming a washed out actor, and he can't get any roles. So he's like meeting with this one guy.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Yeah, and he like does this line reading with him.
He goes, no, honestly, Nick, you don't have to read.
Yeah, I don't want you to read. I know who you are. He's like, no, I want to read. Then he does this like,
And he like slams his car door, and he's like, no, I'm gonna read.
and he does this like Boston accent. That part's pretty funny. It's like, even if I got 17 milliseconds, even if it's tingling to the ends of my fingers.
Yeah, I thought Nick Cage was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. But
But he threw it. I
yeah,
mean,
so the guy did not think he did a good job. And Nick Cage is driving home, and you realize that Nick Cage is just completely nuts.
Oh, yeah, I said Nick Cage is a psycho because
Yeah.
this dude looks in the passenger seat, sees Nick Cage, as if this movie isn't confusing enough.
Yeah, so Nick Cage, now all of a sudden in his passenger seat arrives this totally punk rock version of Nick
Yeah,
Cage
younger Hollywood.
that he calls Nicky. So it's like his little devil on his shoulder version of himself.
It's like his inner alpha or something
Yeah.
because he's just like, oh, man, I don't know. And he's like, you're Nick effing Cage.
Yeah,
That's what
you're
they
being
say
a
the whole time.
loser.
Yeah.
Don't be a loser. You're Nick effing Cage.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Nick effing Cage.
So then he makes it home, and his daughter is named Addie. Shout out Addie.
I mean, a dime a dozen now.
Yeah.
I know 72 Addies. I used to
Yeah.
only know one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Addie, but and then you find Nick Cage is just like very narcissistic. So I can't remember what that first scene is with his. Oh, it's at the they go to
mom's
therapy,
apartment?
the
Oh.
therapy session. And
Oh,
she's
yeah,
like,
that was a funny way to.
they'd be like,
What about your daughter?
"What's your daughter's favorite movie?" Oh, well, she likes this,
Yeah.
answering questions about his favorite stuff, and just he's very narcissistic. Addie doesn't like him at all.
Yeah, Nick Cage, I mean, he's trying, but all he's doing is telling Addie what he likes.
Yeah, that's basically the whole what's wrong with Nick Cage in this movie. Okay, then I had a thought, because now you see like his ex-wife or wife, or they're in the middle of a divorce or something. What are the chances those are his real wife and daughter?
See, that's what the problem
It
with all
bothers
this-
the dickens out of
Yeah,
me, because there's a movie I know that's coming out with Burt Kreischer about the machine.
Right.
And
None of the other people are his,
and I'm
right.
like, why would you make this real movie about them? Are they
Like
not,
when he's getting older.
Yeah, like they're hardly in this movie.
They're never in it.
I mean, like Nick Cage's family.
Yeah.
Like, were
Just make it the real
were
ones.
your real ones not good enough for this small little
But you're-
part?
But maybe they were.
I
Maybe that was them.
I think the chances are very low. They
Nick
never
Cage?
do that.
Yeah, but I don't like when they do this with like actors, and can't give another example, but like this was Nick Cage as Nick Cage in
Oh,
Hollywood.
I know what you're gonna say. When they have Neil Patrick Harris
Neil
being his
Patrick
agent.
Harris as an agent, and I'm like, okay, so is he an agent?
I
in
didn't
real
mind
life?
Pedro Pascal because he's not that famous until recently.
Yeah,
He's got a mask on the Mandalorian the whole time. The Last of Us is like his real big
and like the two agents. Like if they wanted to do this, they should have had nobody else that was recognizable.
I
And why
knew
do
that's
you
what you're
need
gonna say. That
Neil Patrick Harris as the agent. He was
it's
in
such
it
a
for
small
4
part.
minutes.
Yeah, like
give somebody else a turn.
That bothers me too. When it's like, okay, Nick Cage is gonna play Nick Cage, but Neil Patrick Harris is gonna play Nick Cage's agent named Joe.
Yeah, and then there's going to be two actors who, I think it was Tiffany Haddish.
Yep, Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish. I know her name. I shouldn't.
That guy was fine because he's low end.
Oh,
enough.
he's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen
if
him
I don't know
before.
your name.
He's like in Neighbors. I
Yeah,
think.
he's like the terrible friend who didn't grow up.
That's what I had next was that MPH is his agent. So.
Oh, and then they do a tree branch massage. I mean, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I
people
don't know.
like
They said the more it
Do
hurts,
weirder
the better it was.
stuff.
Yeah, for sure. They have.
for beauty.
Yeah. Oh, I was going a different route, like dominatrix type stuff.
Oh yeah, that too.
They have women beat them up. I don't
How
know.
hard?
I mean, I think they like use all kinds of chains and chain people up and then
yeah.
smack them around. I don't really understand how anyone can be into that.
Yeah,
But no, Patrick Harris in this movie maybe could have.
yeah. I don't know why they added him to the mix. But
Also, in this movie, Nick Cage is like going broke. He's not. He's like $600,000 in debt. He's
which
getting
I
a
don't
divorce.
understand why. Make another.
National
Treasure,
treasure. Everyone's
yeah.
begging you for it. Are you like too
Please.
cool for it? Yeah.
I don't even know how many did we end off on. 3,
2.
2.
And now there's a TV show.
Oof.
Never saw it.
I
And
bet
it's-
that's
and-
terrible.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's women.
Really? Is it like Ghostbusters for women?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's National Treasure.
They
for
crushed that movie.
women. Yeah. I didn't see Ghostbusters.
No, it was terrible. But they
So
did
is he
Ghostbusters
really-
Kids,
Oh, yeah. What was that one?
like the Stranger Things kids cast as.
I saw some of those people in it, but like the main, like Finn Wolfhard,
Yeah.
I think. But I think some of the old guys were in it.
Yeah, Bill Hader, I think. Wait, that might be up.
No.
All right, let's get back to the movie.
So I'm wondering, is he really going broke? Is he really getting a divorce in real life? Like, how much of this Nick Cage is real Nick Cage, and how much of it is fake Nick Cage?
I don't think Nick Cage is broke.
Certainly not.
Do you have like lint on your
I don't know. I feel like there's so.
I thought I saw something fall down too, but
All
it's
right.
gone now. We're out the rails.
So then it's his
I think
daughter's.
Nick Cage is doing just fine. I don't know
Yeah,
if he's
I'm
making
sure.
a ton of money, but if he was struggling, he wouldn't go make a movie about him struggling for money.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is this whole movie Nick Cage is playing
Looks
Nick
like a
Cage,
loser.
and he's like a total loser. He sucks
Yeah.
as like a father.
He's a terrible
very
father.
narcissistic. He's going broke. He's getting a divorce. I'm like, wow, Nick Cage, why did you make this?
suck.
You know, it was. I thought that was a little bit
For a
nuts.
redemption,
Yeah.
I guess.
So then it's his daughter's like 16th birthday, and he's just really falling apart as an actor.
Drinks like half a bottle of whiskey in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and it's like her 16th birthday, so she's got all of her friends over, and then he sings this like song that he's been quote unquote working his whole life on.
It was like everybody was singing and he came in late because he just had about 10 shots of whiskey.
Yeah.
And they're like, happy birthday to you. And he's like, yeah, come on, we're heading to the piano. And then just immediately takes over.
Yeah,
Being
and
classic Nick Cage.
he sings this song that's like, I mean, it was so cringeworthy that
It was
everyone
like-
was looking.
Sunshine.
Hey, Addy, remember that time we watched that sunset? That was the best moment of my life. Watching the sunset. It was like watching the sunset with you. Anyways, it was just cringeworthy, and he's just embarrassing his daughter, and he's a narcissist that always wants all the attention. That's the gist. And he's going
That's
broke,
The gist.
and his ex-wife's like, hey, I need you to get your shit together. So now he's sitting outside his hotel all sad, and Neil Patrick Harris tells him he's got this $1 million gig for him to go to this guy's birthday party.
And Nick Cage is like, good.
I'll do that, and then I'm quitting acting.
I'm done, man. This is it. I'm retiring. Tell the agencies. And he starts like tearing up and he's like,
Oh, that part was pretty funny, too.
I loved working with them. It was an honor, and I'm glad to be just a little part of. He pretty much said something.
The
like
oldest, I've been the oldest form of storytelling and myth making.
He said that.
Yeah, in human history.
And I'm pretty sure Nick Cage wouldn't have even quit. I think that was just because he was drunken and emotional.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, but it was funny because he gives this huge speech, and Neil Patrick Harris is like,
Sorry, tunnel.
what was that? It was in a tunnel. He was like, I'm quitting acting.
Whatever.
Yeah. So that part was funny.
Nick Cage was hilarious almost this whole movie.
Yeah. So then he arrives in Spain or wherever the hell he's going, and Tiffany Haddish is waiting for him when he gets off the airplane, and she like works for the CIA.
She's waiting for Pedro Pascal, ends up getting Nick Cage instead.
Well, why did they think Pedro Pascal was going to get off that airplane? He was.
I think it was just their private jet. So it's like,
Ah.
we're gonna get this GPS tracker system on him. This is our chance. But then they're like, WTF? This is Nick Cage. But I had a prediction at this time in the movie, and I'm gonna say it because I was completely wrong, which I'm glad I was wrong, so I could say it. But at this point in the movie, we see Pedro and Nick Cage, and I was like, all right, well, Pedro's obviously just gonna be a terrible person. Mm-hmm. And Nick Cage is going to have to kill this guy. They're going to become best friends. Nick Cage is going to have to kill him. Mm-hmm. That was my prediction.
That's
but I
pretty
was
good.
Wrong.
I mean, what do you mean? They did become best friends, and he was supposed to kill him.
I said Nick Cage is going to become best friends with Pedro, but then have to stop him because he finds the girl. So I thought he kidnapped this girl. Well, maybe I shouldn't have done the prediction like this, but...
It was a pretty close prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I was close, but there was a twist.
So Tiffany Haddish pretends to be a huge Nick Cage fan. She's in the CIA. She drops a GPS in his pocket because she's assuming he's going to meet Javi. And then Nick Cage, I guess, like gets to the house and meets Pedro Pascal, who's driving the boat.
Yeah.
And he's like, is this guy like some sort of freak that's going to make me do like all
Yeah,
this weird
disgust. He says the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
So is this guy going to, like, make me, like, sleep with his wife?
Or is he gonna want to have sex, or is he gonna make me watch him have sex with his wife?
Because I don't want to watch him or any.
I'm not doing anything with sex.
And then he like asked Javi, Pedro Pascal. He's like, "Listen, man,
Where's
what's this
Javi?
weirdo into?"
And he's like, I'm Javi. Anyway, so now Nick Cage has met this guy, and it turns out that Pedro Pascal is like a diehard fan. He was playing it cool when he met him, but this his like girl interest is like, how was he? And he goes,
He was amazing.
he was amazing.
He was taller than I thought. I thought Pedro Pascal is just class.
Pedro Pascal was good in this movie. He
Yeah.
was like such a big Nick Cage fan. He's like he was taller than I imagined. I heard actors are always short, but
Was he too tall? No, he was perfect. like that part was funny too. But
no, he was perfect. So then he goes and he talks to Nick Cage at the pool, who is just drinking, depressed that his acting career is going down the tubes. And his buddy's like, hey, I bet making like all those movies was really cool. And then Nick Cage just walks into the pool. Like,
no, well, it's like Pedro Pascal's cousin.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of like douching him a little bit. And then he just like says something that just irks him too much.
Yeah.
Nick Cage stands up with a beer in his hand, just swan dives, walks right into the pool, and then just like goes to the bottom.
Sits at the bottom and drinks his beer.
Nick Cage was a mood throughout this whole entire.
Yeah, he was just like depressed. This guy depressed him even more. So then Nick Cage like basically Javi jumps in and saves him, and Nick Cage sleeps it off for the first day. Well, then he gets woken up, and this lady's like, "Hey, Javi wants to take you to the cliffs," and
Nick Cage is like, no chance.
no chance.
Sleeping.
And she's like, if Javi wants you to go to the cliffs, I mean, he's paying you $1 million. You're going to the cliffs.
That is so true.
I'm like,
what do you
Nick
think
Cage,
you
get
went
up.
on a weekend vacation for
He's
$1
like,
million?
I am your guest. I'm like, dude, he's paying you $1 million. You do what he wants.
Yeah, for sure.
Just
I
because
didn't
you're
even
Nick
think about it like
Cage,
that.
I mean, you're getting a paycheck. So
Even though Nick Cage is in his element out here, because mind you, like, there's a chance I could walk past Nick Cage on the road. I probably recognize him, but there's a chance that I just wouldn't care enough and I pass right by him. It seems like he's just like a god to them. He's like Leo DiCaprio.
I think he also has like that.
Foreign movies, foreign films.
No,
Oh, that would have been crazy.
I'm just saying he seems like he thinks he's like that too. To me, in real life, like he is the shit.
Top dog.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I think he's got that vibe
Oof.
on him. This has to do with my game later.
Oh, okay, because I mean, like, if he thinks he's like an A-list celebrity right now, well,
I think he
not
thinks
like,
he's like the man.
like Celebrity Hall of Fame.
I think there's like a little bit of truth to like this movie, like there always is.
Yeah,
And I think it's got some Nick Cage thinks he's the man.
Nick Cage. I mean, you're the man, but you're not the man.
Yeah. So, anyways, Pedro Pascal, Javi, he wants Nick Cage to play in this screenplay. Well, Nick Cage, he also wants to take him to the cliffs, and this part was funny when Nick Cage is I guess not all into it when they're driving to the cliffs, and then Javi starts being like, they're chasing. Oh my God, we got to go.
They're right over the edge.
They're right over the edge, and you're at this point you don't really know, is this something real or not? And then he gets to this cliff, and Nick Cage is like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And he's like, finds out that it's this improv thing that Javi's
He goes, all right, I see what you're going to do
Yeah.
here. We're just doing a little Sicilian improv where I just rat-a-tat off you, you rat-a-tat off me, and then Pedro's like, you can't quit acting, Nick Cage.
yeah, and they're standing on this cliff, and so then
And then Nick Cage just turns around a quick 180 and just gets completely into character.
yeah, that
as
was
Nick
classic.
Cage does.
This part was classic too, and then he's like, we have to jump off the cliff, and then he
Tell me something, do you love her? And he said, with all my heart. And he said, all right, then let's go be with her.
And then they both run and jump off this massive cliff
With no hesitation whatsoever.
That part was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was.
He's
that
like, oh
was a
my
beautiful
God,
moment.
we could have died. Well, then they become.
Oh yeah, they're both like, holy shit! Like they must have been 60 feet up at
yeah.
least.
Well, I think Javi knew how high they were. Nick Cage.
He's the one that said, holy shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought that was weird too.
Maybe he never jumped off the cliff before.
Maybe he was like, I'm waiting to do this with Nick Cage.
Yeah. So they jump off the cliff. That part was pretty funny. Then they start becoming just best friends, and they're hitting it off. They're talking about their 3 favorite movies.
And I mean, we gotta watch one of them.
Yeah, that was my main takeaway from this movie. My main takeaway. And do we have to watch them both? All right, so I'll talk about his 3 favorite movies. The first one is Face Off, which is a Nick Cage movie. This is Javi's 3 favorite movies.
Okay.
The second one was The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which Nick Cage had already mentioned earlier in the movie. And it's his
The daughter
favorite.
hates it. It's
Daughter
like
hates
200
it.
years old. I'm sure
German.
we would hate it.
I'm sure he would hate it, but they talk about it a lot in this movie, and Nick Cage loves it. And then the third, he goes, Paddington 2.
And Nick Cage is like, oh, come on. What?
Come on, man. He's like, have you ever seen it? And he goes,
The Caligari, this one else, and then Paddington 2?
I'm 55 years old. I haven't seen Paddington 2.
Yeah, and then he said, I cried the whole entire time, and it makes me want to be a better person.
So then they turn on Paddington 2. And
Sobbing.
And Nick Cage is sobbing, and I've never even seen Paddington 1. Now
I think I might have seen Paddington.
And?
Not memorable.
Well, you think that they just made this up out of thin air, or there's
I feel like they might have money in Paddington 2 or something. 'Cause
something was up.
This is not the only time they mention this movie.
I think that they must actually like Paddington 2. Someone with some say in this movie is Paddington 2 is an underrated.
True.
Because that would be like me with Jojo Rabbit. I'd be like,
Yeah,
y'all should
anytime
watch
you can
Jojo
mention
Rabbit.
it.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all, if you haven't seen this, you need to watch it.
Watch it. It's fantastic.
So I'm trying to open up IMDb. I just want to know what Paddington 2 is rated, but I'm probably going to have to go see it. So, then they're hanging out in the pool after they watch the movie, and they're just absolutely best friends. And Javi's like, hey, did you ever read my screenplay? I gave it to your agent. He's like, no, I never saw that. And he's like, oh, but I'll read it right now. Send it over to me. And he was like, okay. And he's like, we can go hang out in town.
Go out to town, get a
Yeah. He's
celebratory
like-
drink, then I'll watch this.
And he's like, oh, I can't. I'm too nervous. Let me know how you think. So he's classic the whole time. And then Nick Cage goes to town, and I laughed at this part. He sits there to have a drink, and maybe he's reading the screenplay, and then his alter ego, Nicky, shows up. And that's when he really goes, you're Nick F.A. I mean, really holds the Cage!
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that was classic. So he really lets loose with the Nick Evan Cage. And then they make out.
Yeah, I was waiting for that part. And then they make out. And then
then-
you're like, oh, gosh.
Yeah, and then Nick Cage makes out with Nick Cage, and
There's probably some weird dream,
Yeah.
some meaning behind that. Who knows?
not
Nick Cage has got problems.
yeah, not my cup of tea. It was just funny a second ago, and then he smooched himself. So after Nick Cage leaves the bar, the CIA snatches him up.
And let me just say, and I mean, it makes for a good movie, don't get me wrong, but The CIA using civilians to do their job is just the most douche thing of all time.
And like, do you think that ever happens? They're like, oh, we can't get in
I
there.
bet.
We can get
I
this guy
bet.
in there.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, we can't guarantee your safety at this point. I'd be like, there's no chance in hell I'm doing this unless if I succeed, you guys pay me $50 million. And they'll say no, and I'll say, okay, well, you're not getting your guys.
For $50 million, what's like the least amount you would do it for?
Well, I don't want to say it on camera.
Are you sure, Zach? Because we have you on record saying you would do this for
True.
$500,000.
I'm sticking with $50 million. The CIA's got it. The taxpayers have it. That's what I should say. Paying myself.
So they snatch him up, and they're said that they're looking for Javi Gutierrez, and he's a dangerous arms dealer, according to the CIA. And he is the person, according to the CIA, who kidnapped that girl at the beginning of the movie. Who is like somehow
Connected.
Yeah, somehow connected. Guess her dad is like running for politics,
Governor,
and
they
don't want him to win again.
because he's got a bigger ban on guns,
Yeah,
and so they're trying to stop her dad from re-electing. Or
and the
being
CIA is like, he's a bad guy, and we need your help. And Nick Cage's like, not Javi. This is like the best guy of all time. Can't possibly be
yeah,
him.
trust me, I'm an actor. I read people.
It's
not
that's what I
Javi.
do. And they're like, oh, so you know better than the CIA, who's been researching this guy for years and years. And he's
Yeah.
like, pretty much.
And the male CIA agent mentions Crude 2 for some reason. They're talking about Crudes 2.
Nick Cage is the main guy.
Oh, yeah,
He's the
yeah.
dad.
Okay, so this was earlier when Tiffany Haddish is like, oh, I love
When she was
Crudes
pretending to be a
2.
fan to sneak in the GPS, she goes, I love Crudes too.
Now, I haven't seen it.
I've
The
seen
guy
Crudes
said,
1.
I'm 45 years old. Why the F would I watch Crudes 2?
Yeah, that one hit me right in the heart.
That seems sad.
For him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
was like,
gosh.
man, what a terrible life you
Made
have.
me want to turn on Crudes 2.
Yeah. So actually, I quoted that. You quoted that correctly. I said that about Paddington too, but that's when it was like, I'm this old. Why would I watch
Oh,
Croods
yeah.
2?
I was like, oh, I wonder.
That was about Croods
Crudes
2, not about Paddington 2.
Yeah. That's why you quote things.
Yeah, he said that, and I was like, damn, that hit at home because I love animated movies.
Yeah.
Now, I
Oh.
haven't watched Croods 2, but
And I
there's a
don't-
very good chance I could turn it on.
And
If
I
it
would-
presented itself to me. You know? If it was
Weird.
like if it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
what I mean by presenting itself to me.
Yeah, that just, he said, that was just weird.
If the opportunity presented itself, you never heard of that?
You said no, never mind. We'll clip it. Regardless.
Okay. So they want Nick Cage to spy on Javi.
And his first mission is to like break into the
Security
the
camera zone.
get in there,
Put a flash drive.
take all the evidence
During
and
a
get-
huge party with this man who is evidently evil.
And he's only got like 3 or 4 minutes because they shut off the lights and then the security guard goes to take care of the electricity for some reason.
No, he saw a blue light coming from the window. That shouldn't have been. It meant the door was open with like the TV screens.
Okay.
Part made sense.
All right. So then Nick Cage gets through. At first, easy bangy bongo.
He's nailing it, but there's a guy coming. They're like, there's a guy coming. Put on this poisonous patch. As soon as you touch him, he's got about 30 seconds.
Which, I mean, can we just
Talk about how fake that is.
know how this is like a carbon copy of the interview? And we're
Oh,
just gonna
yeah.
act like
Oh.
we forgot it.
Yeah, I mean that is exactly where the poison came from, and like that poison,
Yeah,
that
poison's
poison
a
like that
little, like-
exists. And if that poison existed, like I would do CIA work for like money. You know, I'm not gonna tell my amount, but that one, that one right there,
Yeah.
like a poison that's going to kill you, that
It completely
you, by touching.
debilitates you.
And you,
No, he knocks him out.
I think he was gonna die. They were like, "Are you gonna die there?"
No, I think he was like, I think it just put him to sleep. But he would have been in such a shitty situation if they had found him there that he probably would have died.
Okay, well that's fair. But regardless, like something like that, where in the interview at least, when it's gonna poison you,
Yeah.
and you are holding the non-poisonous side. On the
Yeah,
other
like
side,
you can't clasp your hand.
you can't do anything. You have to stand like this at all times.
Yeah, I would
That-
try and relax my fingers, but boy, would it be tough.
That is something I could never, ever do.
No.
So, anyways, in classic fashion, like in every other movie, he poisons himself.
Do you think
Accidentally
you could
touches
take
his
the
forehead.
cyanide tooth Let's say you're a spy. You get captured. They got you.
I'd like to see what they had planned for me before I took
You
it.
probably wouldn't like it. But what if also you're really not
No,
gonna
I know I'm not gonna like it, but
Yeah,
like,
but also they're gonna be like, I think you have like they're spies too. So I think you're like I think
they
if you
try and open
fidget
your
around,
mouth?
I think they're grabbing you by the jaw, taking your tooth out if they can.
well, if I don't take it immediately, or if I'm not fidgeting it around, then they probably assume,
Oh man, you guys got me.
yeah, they probably assume.
And then what? Like what's the point of making that journey?
Well, what if it's not so bad? They're just like, what do you know?
Welcome to paradise. Everyone just party.
Well, they're like, what do you know? And I'm like, nothing. They're like, all right,
I
you're
would
good.
believe you. There's something about this guy.
Yeah.
What do you know? Nothing. Come on.
Why would I instantly take the cyanide pill when I don't even know how bad it is?
Every time you see people take the cyanide pill, it's always like instantly. Maybe after some
It's
interviews,
crazy
though.
because it's always the evil guys too, and I'm like, this guy was just
Captain
gonna...
America, that's the only one I can remember.
Yes,
Remember that?
exactly. And so it's the evil guys who take the cyanide pill when you're gonna get like a fair trial and everything with
Yeah.
Captain America.
Yeah, you're not gonna get murdered.
Yeah. So why did you just take this pill? If you
Captain
could take
America
it-
would have even tortured you.
Yeah, if you could take this cyanide pill, then certainly you can keep your mouth shut in an interrogation room.
True, it's always the soldiers too that always end
Yeah.
up taking the cyanide pill.
They're like, you'll
Yeah.
never catch me.
You'll
Crunch.
never get
I'm
them.
like,
Okay.
I would never. I'll tell you what I want to do is I would never put a cyanide pill in my mouth. There is no way I could do
True.
that. Like
I bite hard.
Yes, I
I
could.
grind my teeth
What
when
if
I
you
sleep.
kill yourself in your sleep?
Just
like,
grind it
would
up
I
in
take
two?
one is a different story. If it like got
Do you take it
landed
out?
in there, I have no idea how. It
How
works.
realistic is it to a normal tooth?
Do these things even exist, or is it just a movie thing?
Exactly. Also, how hard is it to break?
Yes. How do you bite down on one tooth when you have all these other teeth in the way?
I got fangs. I can make that one
But
into a
they, I
cyanide tooth.
imagine they do it as their like furthest back molar. And
Yeah,
then,
all I can reach is that with my tongue.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's no biting
you have to
that.
like pop it out, and if
Pop it out, then bite
does
it.
it pop out that easy? Now you're killing yourself every night.
That's true.
Cyanide teeth can't exist.
I mean, if it does, it's dumb.
There's so many
gotta be an
questions.
easier
There's no
way.
way I'm putting that in my mouth.
Like something on your hand that you could just.
Lick. I don't know. It's crazy. It's a cyanide ear.
But anyway, so Nick Cage, obviously, where we went with this whole thing, Nick Cage puts this pad on it. It's going to knock out the guy that's after him. Nick Cage goes, "Don't worry, guys, I got this." Wipes his hand across his forehead.
Which was an instant LOL because you knew that he had that poison.
and
there.
you knew he was going to do it.
Yeah, you just knew it was gonna happen, but it
But then
always
they're like,
gets you.
Nick, you got about 30 seconds before you are knocked out, my man.
You gotta get out of this
back
room.
in
This
there."
guy's coming. You gotta get your stuff. Get out of here.
Okay, yeah, and then he like,
Locks
No.
himself out of the room.
yeah, he locks
They
his,
wanted him to grab his stuff. There was the antidote was in the room.
yeah, and he locked himself in, locked himself out, antidote in the room. Then he starts just doing, they're like, you got about 30 seconds.
And
Take
he did
action."
about 6 minutes worth of work.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, he's
That always bothers me when they do that. It's like, why don't you just say he had 5 minutes and then let him do stuff for 5 minutes? It's like, you got 30 seconds. And he's like,
climbing out a
Yeah.
window without any feeling in his limbs.
Yes,
like
and you got-
shimming across a ledge. A
I
window
would
ledge.
never go out on a ledge with 30 seconds.
With no feeling in my legs.
Yeah.
He says, I can't feel my legs, but it's Nick Cage being Nick Cage. But he almost gets there.
And he gets in the window and
Gets the
he's
antidote.
getting the antidote and he passes out.
Holds it in his hand, clasp it,
He just
release the
almo-
clasp,
Yeah.
passed out.
And then Tiffany Haddish says, "Action!"
And there he is.
He
baby.
jumps to Nick Cage.
the Nick Cage we know and
Saves
love.
himself. They did. Then he went back to the party. He saves himself. He goes back to the party, and Javi gives a toast, like honoring Nick Cage. And they said, "Hey, Nick, we need you to stay here for." The CIA said we need you to stay here for some more time. So
50
find a
more
reason.
million.
Yeah. So find a find a reason to stay. And Javi like gives him a toast, and he said, "Me and Javi are gonna work on a movie together. You know, I'm not gonna act in it like he wanted, but I'm gonna help him write it."
Oh yeah, he got a douche with that. He said, Javi goes, "So does this mean you'll star in my screenplay?" And Nick goes, "No, but we can make a movie together."
Yeah. So he was gonna help him make a movie, and in his toast, Javi said that a movie of Nick Cage's called Guarding Tess was like it made him and his dad have a great relationship, and that's why
Yeah.
him and his dad both love this movie.
Haven't seen it.
Movie is called Garden Tess. Pedro Pascal did not do such a great job of that in The Last of Us.
Guarding Tess.
Yeah, that's what I thought of. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. So,
That was the white lady's name, right?
yeah, his girlfriend.
Yeah. Was that his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he liked her. So, anyways,
Season finale. Going Sunday. Shame.
so he agrees to stay and help with the movie. Well, the next day they're starting to work on the movie, and they
They
take
need some enlightenment.
yeah, they take LSD for inspiration, and it's a classic drug use scene.
And it was like, this was probably the funniest part of the whole entire
This
movie.
is yeah, for sure. This is like where they got all the trailer like info. You
True.
know, like I saw some of these scenes. This is where the TikTok comes from that Taylor's been showing
What
me.
TikTok?
She actually thought that this is why you wanted to watch the movie.
It might be. I just forgot what
It's
it
a
was.
TikTok where like they're driving down the road and there's this song that plays and Nick Cage looks like, and then it goes to Pedro Pascal and
He's
he's like,
smiling huge.
yeah, and it's like when it has some song that plays and then it's like, I don't know. It'll be
It
like
sounds hilarious.
well, people use that scene. It'll be like the grossed out Nick Cage face, and it'll be like something stinking in the bathroom, and then it'll be like the Pedro Pascal, and be like my dad walking around around the corner, like
Okay.
like what is that? And like oh,
And
your
then
dad
he's
just
like,
blew
"Ha,
out
ha,
the toilet,
Yeah.
yeah,
Classic.
stuff like that. And there's some song that always plays, but
But anyway, so they start tripping and they're sitting on a bench and then they're looking and then
That
Nick
was
Cage
hilarious.
Says, Listen, we gotta get into this mindset. We gotta get creative, get feeling like we're in this movie. Like picture this. Those two guys over there, they're watching us. And then Pedro goes,
wait, are they?
"Wait, are they?" And then Nick Cage goes, "Oh my god."
I think they are.
They start freaking
They
out.
created this story and then they
Completely believed it.
And
Method.
yeah, so
That's
they
called method acting, baby.
He goes, look over at those guys and
But make it cool. Make it cool.
make
Like,
it
do
cool.
a
Maybe
fake laugh.
yeah, maybe laugh. And he looks over and he's like, ha!
And then he like turns back to Nick Cage and starts like crying. Like, I don't know.
CIA called Nick Cage and he's like, I can't look for her right now. I had to take acid. And
I thought that was his sister or his daughter. Oh, it wasn't? That was Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah.
I thought he texted his daughter that. Like,
he lied to Javi. Was looked at his and he goes, he got text and he's like, it's my daughter. So he didn't see it was CIA.
nice.
It was definitely Tiffany Haddish. And she's like, what the heck? And he's like, it's a Donnie Brasco situation, which is like a movie about an undercover cop who was doing like drugs
Donnie
and
Brass.
stuff. Yeah.
But I've seen this scene. So they take off because these guys are watching them. And they land on about a 10-foot wall. Mm-hmm. And then they're working to make their way over.
They're
It
just
seems
high
like,
as dick and
I mean,
climbing this wall.
it's clear as day. This is not the only way around.
They're running from these two guys that aren't chasing them.
Yeah, or it's not life and death. But Nick Cage makes it over the wall. Pedro Pascal lays his life down for Nick Cage.
Yeah.
And then,
And then he comes around the corner and was
He's
like, we
like,
could have
"Mr.
walked
Cage?"
around the whole time. Mr. Cage. So the highest dicking part was really funny.
oh yeah, and then they like run back around, and,
And they're
then
like,
so they just did a giant circle.
I
went
don't
back
even
around.
think they did another. I don't think they did another circle. I think there was two different guys.
No, those were the same guys. It had
I think
to
they
be.
just so happen to look a lot alike.
That would be even funnier.
I put two different guys? Question mark.
I don't know.
I think it was.
One of them was ginger, right?
I think it just so happened to be a
It's
weird
tough
set
to
of
find a pair of gingers.
looking guys.
Yeah.
You might be right, but I thought that it was like two different guys. But that was funny. So they thought the guys were chasing them still. And then Pedro Pascal makes Nick Cage drive the car because he said, "You're a better driver than me." He's like, "No, I'm not." He said, "You did your stunts in Gone with 60 Seconds."
Yeah.
Like he knew every Nick Cage movie.
Oh yeah, and then Nick Cage was like, "That was a stunt double," and then he was like, "Not according to," and he said something, and Nick Cage is like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, it gets.
But yeah, so then Tiffany Haddish is like,
on the way there, though, they go, "Oh, I have an idea for our movie," because they were thinking about their movie. That's why they got high in the first place.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What if we just make it about our
this.
lives, about this, our friendship and just like this. And he's like, that is the best idea you've ever had.
Yeah. So they pretty much made the movie, and they talked about the movie inside of the movie.
Yeah, it was a movie Inception.
But Tiffany Haddish is like, maybe you could say that a girl gets kidnapped inside your movie to kind of move things along. And then Nick Cage is like, that's the stupidest thing of all time. Like, Javi would read me like a book.
Before that, though, they get back to his compound, and he shows them the Nick Cage shrine.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is next. So it's getting a little bit tense because Nick Cage knows Javi at least, or thinks Javi's a bad
Now
guy
he's
at
starting to
this
believe Javi's a bad guy, and they're like, hey, Nick, we need you to look for the girl around his compound.
And Javi was passed out, and Nick Cage was like shaking these weird glass doors. It looks like somewhere
Definitely
you would hide a
somewhere
person.
hidden. Like, this is a secret area.
And he's like, hello, is anybody in there? And then Javi's like, you want to get in there, Nick?
If I show you what's in there, you might think differently of me.
He's like, I gotta see what's in there, Jav.
I got to. So he lets him in, and it's just like all the Nick Cage memorabilia you could ever imagine. And
I
it's
thought you were about to say you could ever ask for. And I've never asked for a single Nick Cage.
ever
memorabilia.
imagine.
True. And then he was like, oh man, that wax figure looks hideous. And I was like, phew.
Sorry, Chief. Newsflash.
I got bad news for you, buddy.
Somebody tell Nick Cage. So he goes, how much did you pay for this wax figurine? He's like, $6,000. He goes,
I'll give you 20.
I'll give you 24. It's not for sale.
Yeah. I mean, the most diehard Nick Cage fan of all time.
Yeah, the more I talk about it, the funnier it was.
Yeah, 7.0 seems a little bit long.
Definitely in the sevens. An 8.4? Anyways, he shows them the shrine. And then, they're like, hey, get him to add a kidnapping to the script, like Zach just said. And that way you can kind of talk about ideas about where you would hide a kidnapped girl. And maybe that will help you. And he's like, that just doesn't fit into our movie at all.
He's like, that's the dumbest idea of all
She's
time.
like, just pitch it. And pitch it as like a blockbuster, like a sell.
Yeah, just to
it.
get the previews, the trailers.
Yeah, for the
that trailer
trailers.
video,
Uh-huh.
which
So-
apparently is a thing.
So he pitches it to Javi the next day, and
It gets scary.
Javi hates the idea. He's like, that is the worst idea of all time.
And from this point on, the whole movie is like this, like, will they, won't they? Like, does Javi,
does he know he's a CIA agent?
or like, it's all tense the whole time? And Javi, like, they're like shooting skeet when Nick Cage pitches the kidnap girl idea.
Yeah.
So Javi's like reloading a shotgun, and he's like, I actually know why you're saying this to me right now, Nick. And he's got like his gun loaded, and it's really tense, and you're like, oh gosh, Nick Cage is about to get shot. And he said, it's because of your relationship with your own daughter. And he's like, oh, and then they do that back and forth pretty much the rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah. It's always like, oh, God, has he actually figured it out? Is Javi bad? And so then Javi flies in.
Addie and the mom.
Yeah. Oh, and you find out this time, the next morning, after the skeet shoot, Nick gets woken up by Tiffany Haddish, and she's like, hey, I've been made. You're probably made. You got to get the hell out of there. So Nick Cage is like packing up his bags to get the heck out of there. And then his family is in Spain with him, and Javi had flew him in.
Yeah, and Javi like caught him and was like, oh, come on.
So now you're like, oh, God, Javi's going to like, I got
And
your
he
family,
makes
Nick
it
Cage.
seem like he's going to kill this family. Because
Yeah.
he's like, Nick Cage is like, Javi, you bastard. This is between you and me. Don't bring this into this. And then Pedro
Yeah,
Pascal,
that
just
part.
completely clueless, is
Yeah.
like,
He's like,
it has to be done.
It has to be done. And
Because Pedro Pascal thinks that he's helping Nick Cage and his daughter work on their relationship.
Uh-huh.
And Nick Cage thinks that Pedro Pascal is like
Yeah.
using his family as bargaining chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where I wrote that Nick Cage really makes himself look bad in this movie because he finds out why Javi flew him in for like the apology, or at least Javi says that he still might think that he's got nefarious reasons going on.
Yeah.
But
he's like, oh, I got to answer these questions because Javi is nefarious.
yeah. So he like apologizes to his daughter for like not being around, and
I'm sorry you don't like the movies I like.
I'm sorry that
I work.
yeah, he's like, I'm sorry I followed my dreams.
I don't even think that you guys would have wanted me not to. If
yeah.
you think about
yeah,
it.
I'm like, what is up with
Like it was my dream to do this, and like he was pretty much like saying like it'd be pretty selfish of y'all to
sorry you guys are sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was trying to live my dream.
Yeah. So they were like, "Is that the best you
And they're
got?"
like,
And then-
see, pathetic. Ugh. And
yeah,
then Nick Cage got
Javi
all
even
sad.
said it was pathetic. Anyways, he does that. Then Javi's cousin comes in.
Turns out,
He was the one who kidnapped Delgado.
and he's been the boss the whole time. Because
Yeah.
his first scene, I was thinking like, I was getting like a worthless cousin type of vibe.
Yeah, that's like pot smoker cousin.
Yeah, like someone that you were just like, oh gosh, here this guy comes again.
Turns out
How much you need this time?
Javi's dad ran the crime family, and so when he died, everyone assumed Javi was now in charge. But
And
his
the cousin
cousin
wanted
took
it that
over,
way.
and his cousin wanted him to seem like he was in charge, so he was the fall guy, and so he would pay him a lot of money, and basically all Javi wanted to do was make a movie where Nick Cage was the star, and
This is only true. Javi was just the nicest guy of all time.
Yeah.
Nick Cage was right.
he was just really nice. So his cousin tells Nick. His cousin knows Nick Cage is a spy. He has like a recording of a conversation he has, and he tells Javi that he better kill Nick Cage or he's gonna kill him.
So now, real Sophie's choice for
Yeah, Javi, kill his hero or die.
and best friend or die.
So then I thought they're going to save this kidnapped girl, and then it is going to basically be like they were acting out the suggestion that Nick had to save a kidnapped girl.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah,
he said it. They were literally making a movie inside of a movie within a movie.
that's creepy because they told us the end of the movie at the middle of the movie.
Yeah,
Weird.
so that happened.
But at the same time, Pedro's getting told that he needs to kill Nick Cage. Tiffany Haddish is telling Nick Cage he needs to kill Pedro.
Uh-huh.
So then he goes down, gets his two dual golden pistols that were on
Yeah.
his
Well,
wax figure.
so they go out to the cliffs. Javi's like, "You want to ride out to the cliffs, Nick?" And he's thinking he has to kill Nick, and Nick's like, "It'd be a pleasure, Havs." And he thinks
And it's
he's got to
so-
kill
yeah.
Javi. And then they sit there in the car just bummed that they have to kill each other. And then they trade shoes.
I know. I said, you can't kill a guy you traded shoes with.
He's like, "Hey, Hobbs, I really like those shoes." He's like, "Oh, they would look great on you. You want to try them on?"
I don't know. I'm not that big of a fan. He's like, are you kidding me, man?
You can pull these off
you're
so
rocking
good.
those shoes. And he said, I think they would look really good on you, Mr. Cage. And then Nick goes, oh, you think so? And he goes, yeah. Here, try them on. He goes, all right, try on one of mine. And then Nick Cage is just like, you want to swap? And he's like, forever? And I think Javi probably thought he won. Like, those were probably $1,000 shoes.
Yeah, I think he had like really expensive one. Nick
And he
Cage
had
had
checkered
checkered
pants.
pants.
Yeah.
So then,
A classic.
Yeah, they walk out into the woods, and Hobbs pulls a gun on him, and then Nick Cage pulls some old movie Nick Cage golden pistols that Javi had in his
Yeah.
little shrine area, and he was just like, "Are those my golden pistols?
Because they're mine.
They're mine." And he was-
You're gonna kill me. Yeah, you're gonna kill me. And then they pretty much just figure it out. They're like, well, you got this. You kidnapped this girl. And he goes, my cousin kidnapped that girl. I got nothing to do with this.
yeah, so they were like, basically decide that they're gonna.
They're best friends.
They're best friends. They're not going to kill each other. That they have to save this girl.
And the daughter, right?
Oh yeah. So at this point, I guess they get a call or they show back up home. Well, how's this happen? Oh, they're getting chased by the cousin.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yeah. So they're getting.
and I wrote something about this. So they shoot up on this cliff, and then there's two guys like pursuing them, and the tactical resolve of these guys is just absolutely terrible because they could have just staked out the Jeep.
Yeah.
But they didn't stake out the Jeep. They ran and got their dirt bikes. Congratulations. I've never seen anybody chase a car with a dirt bike and win.
Really?
Who?
Well, I've never seen many chases, but I assume.
Every time I see a dirt bike, I'm like, oh, this dude's going to flip over the handrail. Someone's going to open a door, and this guy's going to fly over
if you're
the
trying
side
to
of the car.
race, well, what if you just had a gun and like a little machine gun? You have a motorcycle and they're in a car.
Yeah.
You win.
No, you're screwed.
You just drive.
Unless you drive
really
by
fast.
them and like a straight line across, you win, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to get to that front window first, and then you got one hand on the handlebar instead of two, and now you're holding a gun, and then they bump your wheel.
True. In every movie,
And then you're just doing that, you lose control, you're dead.
in every movie, they always lose. But I think it would be possible to win.
Oh, I mean, it's possible, but 9 times out of 10, dirt bike loses 9 times.
So they're running away from Javi's cousin, and he says, hit the brakes. And Nick Cage says, no, that won't work. And then he says, hit the brakes. It will. And then the guy on the one motorcycle flips into the back of the car.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
"Don't
oh,
worry, he's knocked out."
He's knocked out. And then he like hits him really
punches
hard.
Pedro right in the face.
But then they knock him out anyway. But I thought that part was
mean,
funny as well.
Yep.
And then they get back to the compound, and Nick Cage's wife lets him know that his daughter has been kidnapped by the cousin.
And I would just like to say that Tiffany Haddish is single-handedly like the worst CIA agent of all time.
Oh yeah. Oh
She
man,
gets
could you
tailed.
imagine? She makes Nick Cage like do
She
her
throws
dirty
the GPS,
work.
and they're like, "What about Tijuana?" And she's like, "Oh, Tijuana wasn't my fault." I'm starting to think Tijuana was her fault because like she throws a GPS on a civilian, that civilian gets killed. Tiffany Haddish is to blame.
What happened in that part?
When she throws the GPS and Nick Cage's like jacket at the start, the agent is like, "Oh, you don't do this again. Remember what happened in Tijuana?" And she's like, "Man, Tijuana wasn't my fault." And then she did it again.
What did you say? The civilian gets killed.
I'm guessing she threw a GPS tracker on a civilian, and then some drug boss found it on the civilian and killed the person. I don't know for certain.
Well, I'm saying it was pretty ruthless of her to pull Nick Cage into this whole affair, and then
Be like, "Oh,
she
my hands are tied."
got like trapped, and then she lies to him to get him there to get him murdered.
That's true, but in her defense on that one, they were walking up those stairs when like 12 gunshots were going
Okay,
off.
I think what must have happened, because I had the same thought, is that there was a time lapse. Like,
so they're popping off.
It appeared to be happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But the only way it made sense is if that happened a little bit before.
Because it was like pop, 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 and I'm like, oh, they should have heard that. And then they get like halfway up,
Yeah.
and then it's like pop, 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 and I'm like, oh, well, they definitely should have heard that one.
So everyone's dead.
Tiffany Haddish died. I mean, now it's sad, but she was a really bad agent. The other dude, I mean, they killed him first. At least she got to like go out a hero.
Yeah, so they say that they're going to kill both of the girls, Nick Cage's daughter Addie and the girl Delgado's daughter, unless Delgado drops out of the election. CIA agent dies, and then when does Nicky beat up Nick? Because I wrote that. His like altered personality must have been right around then.
Maybe like when they turn him into Sergio. Like he's like, oh, no.
Maybe before then. But anyways,
We'll pass it.
yeah.
Nick Cage turns into the like head honcho.
There was
drug
this
boss.
Sergio Baldassari who has been missing for 15 years, but you recently find out he has reappeared, but no one knows what he looks like because he's been gone for 15 years.
Right.
So Nick Cage dresses as him, part's hilarious.
Yeah, but when the cousin greets Sergio by like
Beating
putting
him
a
up?
knife to his neck and stuff,
Yeah.
Nick Cage didn't act like Sergio should have acted.
Yeah, he should
But
have
I
been
don't
pissed
know.
off.
Yeah, be like, I'm Sergio.
Maybe if you go into some other guy's
But this guy,
compound,
yeah, and
maybe-
he's got about 100 ARs pointed at Nick Cage. It was tough.
maybe you're not allowed to do that. But anyways, he disguises as this guy, and it's pretty funny.
They get to his daughter.
So Javi's cousin Lucas beats him up because he thinks he's there to like kill him or whatever. But then he ends up like letting him get up.
Right.
And then they are looking for his daughter, and he realizes it's Nick because his face starts peeling off.
Yeah. Well, that was when they got there because his beard is peeling. Nick Cage realizes, like, takes his gun, puts the cousin up, and is like, nobody move, and is like, get the girls out of here. So Nick Cage, real hero move right there.
Yeah, and then that guy Carlos gets absolutely creamed by the car.
Oh, yeah. He probably deserved that.
Oh, he definitely deserved it.
But anyways, Nick Cage ends up killing like 3 people. They like go. They have this like I'm kind of like
Oh, well, Nick Cage.
trying to speed this part up.
Nick Cage. What do you mean?
I want to get to my games.
Oh, well, Nick Cage is. We're almost done.
Yeah, but then they have the chase.
Well, anyways, when Nick Cage is the Sergio guy, he gets caught by the guy, and then they beat him up and put him on the ground for a second, and he has the gun to his head, and Nick Cage says the line that he did at the beginning. Do you remember that? Like the Boston one?
17
milliseconds.
Yeah.
And he nails it that time.
Oh yeah. He just wasn't ready at the restaurant. It wasn't the right scene.
Yeah.
But Nick Cage ends up killing like 3 guys in that instance. He shoots 2. Pedro runs in, shoots like 2 more, and then like the rat race happens.
Yeah, Javi gets the girl and stands up to his cousin with the golden guns, which is probably his dream. And then he gets his cousin, Nick Cage gets Javi's cousin into the American Embassy. And then Nick Cage's daughter does a throwing knife to Nick Cage, who catches it and stabs the man. And then it changes into the movie version in that scene.
Right. Now, here's what I had for this. The daughter throws the knife. This is what I assume would have happened. Nick Cage sticks his hand up to stab directly through the hand. He freaks out so much that he moves away from the villain. U.S. Embassy shoots him. That would have been a funnier way to end it, but I think they didn't do that because of the transition.
Oh,
because Nick Cage catches the knife in the heart, and then they're already.
Oh, well,
in
you
Hollywood.
also had to make Nick Cage the man at the end.
Yeah,
because he
no,
was
Wayne
down
caught
the
that
dumps.
knife though.
Oh no, that
maybe
was
Tom Cruise.
Absolutely impossible. But he catches the knife and then he stabs this guy. Like at first, I was like, she's not gonna throwing knife this guy, is she? That would be so unrealistic. And then they made it even more unrealistic than that
Because he caught it.
Yes.
And then turns out it was him and Pedro's movie.
Yeah,
so they're
movie's
like, oh, we
a
gotta go
huge
to the
hit.
party.
Nick Cage is totally back, and
Pedro's like, come on, let's go to the party. Let's ride together. And Nick Cage's like, not tonight, buddy. I gotta hang with my family.
Hang out with my family.
Full circle. And then they mentioned Paddington 2 yet again.
Yeah, they watched it again. I was like, so we got to watch Paddington.
And it wasn't even Nick Cage that mentioned it this time, because like Nick Cage that watched it.
He's like, what would you like to watch, daughter? How about you get a say in the movies for once?
And she was like,
this might sound weird, but
Yeah.
Paddington
Banger.
2.
We're gonna watch it.
So they watched Paddington 2. My good movie. I would change my rating after redoing it to like a 7.4. But
All right, I'll keep mine.
then I would like to keep mine because I don't think it's much more than 7.7, which would be the original average.
Okay.
So 7.7 is good for that movie. It was funny. It's a one-time watcher. I'd watch it if I hadn't already seen it.
You got a game?
Yeah, my theory about this movie is that Nick Cage must be not a very great dad, and he's starting to feel bad about it.
Oh, maybe he was he redeemed himself in the movie, and that would be the biggest douchiest thing to do.
No, I think Nick Cage
redeemed himself to his daughter in the movie, and then assumed that would be something to.
So we're good now, right?
That'd be funny. That'd be classic Nick Cage.
So I think that Nick Cage might be a weird guy in real life. Well, I might have put too many names on this. So we'll just have to go through these fast.
All right, cool.
All right.
Jeez.
So I think that if you were to meet Nick Cage, he's probably kind of weird. So
so I'm speed running these. Is it like celebrities?
yeah, I mean, you don't have to it ain't. I don't have you on a timer, but there's a good amount of them. So
Okay.
anyways, this is mean, freak, or good hang.
Mean, freak, or good hang.
Yeah. Anna Kendrick.
Who's that? Oh, is that
Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. Yes. Good hang.
Good hang. Jonah Hill.
Mean.
Nick Jonas.
Good hang.
Some of these I got from Tay. She thought he'd be a weirdo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Paul Rudd.
Good hang.
Yeah, that's good hang. Jared Leto.
Freak.
Yeah,
He's a culty weirdo.
Yeah, he was the Joker.
Yeah.
Jack Black.
Good hang. Great
Good.
hang.
Yeah, that's a great hang. Ellen DeGeneres.
Freak.
Oh, freak, not mean?
Freak and mean.
Okay.
Terrible.
Kevin Hart.
I don't want to hang out with him, but I don't think he's a freak. Maybe freak.
He could be. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't trust anybody in Hollywood. to be
Me
honest with
neither.
you.
Normally,
I'll call them all freaks.
Yeah, George Clooney.
Good hang.
I think he's probably a freak. Maybe.
Really? I don't know. I just thought I'd hang out with Clint Eastwood.
George Clooney is not like the age
Okay.
of Clint Eastwood. Dave
right there?
Chappelle.
Good hang.
Good hang.
Unless I want my sides to hurt too much.
Keanu Reeves.
Good hang.
Aubrey
He
Plaza.
might be a freak, but I think it would be. A good
Yeah,
hang.
it's between the two.
Yeah.
And there's
Aubrey
fine
Plaza,
lines.
she's Parks and Rec. Mm-hmm. Good hang.
Shia LaBeouf.
It's borderline freak or good hang.
Yeah.
Because I think I could still have a good time hanging out with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, for sure. Steve Carell.
Good hang. I hope so.
Yeah, I sure hope so too.
Yeah.
I think everyone would be very disappointed
If
to
he
find
was a
out Steve
jerk.
Carell was not a good hang. Tom Cruise.
Mean.
And a freak. Drew Barrymore.
Mean.
Oh, I bet she's nice. She kissed Glennie Balls on the mouth.
Okay. Yeah.
Just,
I don't like her talk show.
Oh, I don't watch that.
I
don't watch talk
clips, so
shows.
I'm like, ugh.
Famous people talking to famous people about being famous. No thanks, not for me.
Yeah.
Adam Levine.
Mean.
Yeah, he's on a list.
I don't want him.
Tobey Maguire.
Mean.
Yeah,
He's very mean.
I hear he's very mean.
You're in the road.
What is that?
You don't know that?
No.
He's like driving past paparazzi and they're like flashing shit in his eyes and he's like, I can't see the effing road. And he's yelling. You gotta watch that video.
Well, there's a story about him. The movie Molly's Game on Netflix. I've never seen it, but it's this poker game that this lady puts on for famous people, and he's in it. And he said, "I'll give you this $1,000 poker chip if you bark like a seal." And so he just does that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and he's a super weird like Hollywood guy in this new crap movie.
So he's weird and mean. Steve Buscemi. He's the guy with crazy eyes in all the Adam Sandler movies.
Oof. Yeah. I can't tell you.
He's a real good guy.
Yeah, I bet.
During 9/11,
Yeah,
he became a firefighter.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Great guy.
he went to...
Good hang.
He used to be a firefighter during 9/11.
Came back.
Went to New York and helped for a long time.
Good hang. Good man.
Good man. Good hang. We're getting close. Helena Bonham Carter. She's Bellatrix Strange.
I wouldn't want to hang out with her, but I don't think she's mean.
I think she's probably a little bit of a freak.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I'd hang. Post Malone.
Oh, good hang.
The Rock.
Freak.
I think he's probably mean, to be honest.
I bet
He does
something.
too much nice stuff, like, for the camera that I think he's probably, like, not the best guy.
Yeah.
But hey, that's just
my opinion.
That's just a guess. Christian
If you
Bale.
don't like it, you can try and beat my big brother's ass.
Yeah,
He's
The Rock.
big and tough. My big brother could take the rock.
Fight him, Rock. Christian Bale.
I hope good hang.
I bet he's a freak.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a...
He seems weird. He gets fat and skinny all the time. Leonardo DiCaprio.
He might be mean.
Yeah, he's probably mean. I think he's good friends with Tobey Maguire.
I mean, some of these people, like even Jonah Hill, it's like probably good man to people on his like
Level. Yeah, I think so. But that means you're mean.
Yeah.
Um,
But I would get so tired if it was like, and also they were probably just like, yo, Jonah, how's it feel being a fat ass? And then they're like, yo, Jonah, how's it feel being skinny? And then he's like, oh, gosh. And then they're like, hey, Jonah. He's like, what? At that point. I don't know. I still think Jonah Hill's a jerk.
yeah, I think so too. Johnny Depp.
He'd be a good hang, but like not for the right reasons.
That's what I said when I was talking to Taylor. I was like, I mean, you'll probably have to do drugs. But
It'd be crazy.
It would be a crazy night.
What do you call it? Like a flask of wine?
Mega pint.
Yeah.
And a jar of cocaine.
Yeah.
I feel like he just probably never takes a day off. He's probably being nuts
I bet
right
he
now.
hasn't slept in an hour and a half. I bet he hasn't slept an hour and a half since the trial ended.
Yeah, dude, I bet he's
He
just...
made like $500 million from Disney. I will never work for Disney again.
That was really good Johnny Depp, I feel like.
Really?
I mean, pretty good.
Thanks.
First go around.
And then he gets a $500 million contract.
Well, I
something
mean,
like
I didn't know they were going to pay me $500
that.
million.
Yeah, true. I mean, nobody was like, they were like, oh, you go get that money, Johnny. Like, nobody really.
Yeah, you said you weren't going to work for him.
Yeah.
James Franco.
Freak.
Okay.
Probably a freak.
He was canceled for something that we don't know.
Yeah. We'll call freak. Be safe.
Hugh Jackman.
Good hang.
I would guess mean.
Oh, really?
I would just guess. Ben
He's a
Affleck.
theater buff.
So freak.
Oh, mean.
Oh, yeah, he's got
I
to
bet
be
Ben
mean.
Affleck is super.
So what do you think about Matt Damon?
Not as mean.
Not as mean, but probably like
Probably
mean. Adam Sandler.
Good hang.
Good.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande.
Either good hang or freak. I don't think she's mean.
Oh,
Maybe
she's on a few lists for being mean.
Oh, really?
I got several of these names from a list of being mean.
Oh.
And then I picked ones that I thought would be nice. And then I picked freaks.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Good hang.
You do a lot of good hangs. I think she's probably a freak.
Jennifer Lawrence, is that like a Hunger Games girl?
Yeah.
She's funny.
Justin Bieber.
Good hang.
Wow.
I'd hang out with Justin Bieber.
Well, everyone would hang out with Justin Bieber. Be like, yeah, remember that time I hung out with
I
Justin
don't
Bieber?
think
And he was
it-
a complete freak.
Yeah, but how? This is my first time meeting these people. They're not going to be like, "Hey, you want to see my dungeon?"
No, I don't mean that like that freaky, but like to a degree, like you're too weird. I don't want to hang out with you. Like maybe you, I don't know. Some of these people just seem weird
Okay.
to me, but not to you.
Well, you named every
Lady
single
Gaga.
celebrity in Hollywood right now.
Lady Gaga.
Freak.
Okay, finally, you think someone's a freak. Jamie Foxx.
Oh, good hang.
Oh, I bet he's mean.
Oh, he's such a good guy. I hope he's not mean. He's so talented at everything.
I mean, yes, he's very talented, but he makes a lot of lists for being mean.
Ah, damn. Why do y'all do this?
I think what happens is they're mean to someone one time,
Oh, yeah.
and that just like blows shit out of proportion. Like Sandra
Jamie
Bullock.
Foxx only let me a 20% tip at a restaurant. I don't care how rich I get. 20%. I'm not
No,
gonna be
no,
like,
that's
"Oh,
not
I'm
what they're
Jamie
bitching
Foxx.
about.
That's
Like,
not."
I think as long as you leave 20%, but if you are famous, you have to leave 20%.
You have to.
Like, you can't be getting away with 10% one time, Chief. Like,
Yeah.
you have all this money. That is going to, they're going to write that on your tombstone.
Uh-huh.
I only have like 3 more. Ryan Reynolds.
Good hang. Hope.
I think he's probably mean.
Ah! What's wrong with you?
I just
Seems like
think he
such a nice
seems,
guy.
yes, I think it's too much of a ploy. You know the guy in Deadpool that does the bartender? He's got the curly hair? Can't stand him. He can't stand Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, really?
He's not in like Deadpool anymore. He does like a big thing. Yeah. I think they have beef.
TJ something?
Yep.
Damn.
I like that. Why
I like him, Ryan Reynolds now, I guess.
Yeah. I think so. Katy Perry.
Freak
Good
and
one.
mean.
James Corden.
Freaking mean.
Freaking mean.
Oh, freaking mean, too.
Yeah, James Corden seems like a freaking mean.
Yeah, he's super mean. I know that for sure.
Seth Rogen. I just
Good
saw that
hang.
one. Good hang?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd like to sit down in a room with Seth Rogen, Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa, and just see where the night goes.
I got a good feeling. Seth Rogen, Joe Rogan,
All right.
Hulk Hogan.
Here's one of my 2 games. This one, and we're just gonna try this a couple of times. I'm gonna do a word randomizer. I'm gonna read the words out loud, and then we're gonna try and think of a plot of a movie off of these 3 words.
Okay.
See how it goes. Pray linen sheets. So this is obviously a scary movie.
Yeah, so
I picture a monster.
I'm
A mon-
picturing the movie like Scream. Well, I'm actually picturing a ghost.
so
Someone
you're
wearing
thinking
a
linen
linen
sheet. Oof.
You know?
I was thinking
And you're
like
the
I was
prey.
picturing a girl, a little girl, edge of her bed, under a linen sheet, and then there was something crawling out from under the bed,
Boogeyman.
and that was the picture.
Don't look under the bed.
Okay, so maybe we should do this like we both quietly think of an idea. We read the words out loud, quietly think of an idea, and then we both pitch our.
Okay.
Okay. Next one. Seller friendly practice. Okay, well I got it.
All right, you go first.
Well, this is obviously a high school movie about a hoodlum kid who becomes a drug dealer.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Unfortunately, it's not too friendly at practice. This is so tough.
Okay, I'm thinking about a couple of guys. This is obviously a melodrama. They work at dead-end jobs in finance. One of them comes up with a great invention, and he's trying to get his other friend to sell it with him. He's like, we should leave our dead-end jobs and we'll become sellers. They're friendly sellers. And they just practice being the best sellers they can. And the one friend decides he can't do it anymore. They're not making any money. And then when he leaves, the one friend gets
Takes
really
off.
rich. And then he gets,
And there's some beef.
yeah, there's definite beef.
He's like, hey man, you left.
And he's like, I still want my cut.
Kind of sounds like a Social Network.
Oh, I think it sounds more like Envy. Do you remember
Oh,
that movie?
yeah.
With
The vaporize.
Vaporize.
Yeah. All right, let's try one more.
All right. Legend pop work.
This is obviously
This
a
is
documentary
easy.
about
Michael
Drake.
Jackson.
The Michael Jackson one's better.
Do one more.
All right.
Scatter, drain, potential. This is obviously a holiday movie. about the Easter Bunny, and he's just scattering his eggs, and he's just tired of doing that year after year, and he's drained, and he thinks he has so much more potential that he is pursuing becoming Santa Claus.
I think this is a real live-action version of Mario. He's scattered. He just lost Peach. In this version, Princess Peach has passed, unfortunately. Bowser has taken her. Mario couldn't get the job done. His mind is scattered. Uh-huh. So what does he do when he's in pain? He goes down one of his green drains.
Uh-huh.
And what does he find down there?
Hope.
Potential.
That's a good game.
All right. We'll go to my second game.
Did you have a name for that game?
No.
I think that one could stick.
What? Oh, yeah.
The Movie Maker.
We'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. We gotta make it night themed. That's the problem with just throwing a name out. What is it when you get like knighted? You can be something off of that.
Okay.
Because it's got something with names. Regardless, here's the next one. This might be a full timer too. Mm-hmm. A to Z.
Okay.
And they can be sentences. It doesn't have to just be one word. But we're going to go from A to Z, and I'm going to say a sentence, and then you have to start it with B and then continue the sentence.
I think I'll learn while I'm going. Like, are you going to say one word, or you're going to say a whole few words?
Anyways, Rebecca died.
But did she really?
Coincidentally, I think she did.
Doubt it. What does this game have to do with the movie?
No idea.
Nothing? Okay. I guess that one didn't either.
Say it again.
Doubt it.
Exactly my point.
First of all, who did it?
Gangsters?
Hyenas?
I guess.
Just tell me.
Kangaroos.
Lest we start worrying about the kangaroos.
My guess is they're going to rule us all.
No way, Kemosabe.
Oh, well.
Perhaps you're right.
Query.
What is that even?
Definitely a word.
But that didn't follow along with like...
It was tough.
Reason? You just said that?
Substantial.
Time will tell.
Usually, the killer is found by now. We're back.
Victims are always to blame.
Without doubt.
Xylophone. Playing kangaroos. Did it after all.
You know for certain?
Definitely.
That was really good for our first time.
Zach, I sure do.
That was a toss up. Yeah, definitely was funnier though.
Yeah, I know. I could have definitely came up with the Z word. I'm sitting right next to you.
Yeah,
That was funny.
but yeah, I think those are two good games that we could
Don't
use
stop
in the
again.
future.
I just had this one. I haven't looked this up. What is Nick Cage's net worth?
$50 million. I bet it's more than that. $50 million.
I'm gonna go 100.
Okay.
You win. $25 million.
Oof.
What do you think? Paddington 2 got an IMDb score of?
8.9.
Wow, you think it's gonna be that high? I bet it's like a 7 flat, and it's like a just joke the whole time. You didn't think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie looked good?
It looked okay.
It got 7.8. It's pretty high.
That's what I said.
What did you say?
7.8.
Oh, good job. And Paddington 1 got 7.3.
Oh, wow. I mean, maybe we'll watch it.
I'll probably watch Paddington 2 on my free time regardless.
Maybe just Paddington 2, though.
It seems odd.
Yeah, I would have to watch both. Maybe that's how you cry. You got to watch both movies to, no.
There's no way Nick Cage watched both Paddingtons.
But we'll figure it out.
All right.
And we'll get back to you.
And good night.